We haven't got anyone. We've got people starting to join. So good afternoon, everyone that's starting to join the webinar. Thank you very much for giving up half an hour of your time on Friday afternoon. Good afternoon, those that are joining. Thank you very much for spending 30 minutes of a Friday afternoon with the three of us. We're going to give it a couple more minutes yet, just to let a few more people join. Nice, a few more people joining. Good afternoon, everyone that's joining. We're going to give it probably one more minute just to let the last few people join, and then we'll be making a start. Katie, you up to anything nice this weekend?
I've got a reformer Pilates class tomorrow. First time ever trying it, and I'm quite scared.
Nice.
How about yourself?
I'm off camping.
Oh, lovely. Good weather for it, hopefully.
Very nice weather. So yeah, we're off camping for the weekend. So I'll be literally finishing work, and then loading up the transporter ready to go.
Nice.
Rosie, anything interesting this weekend?
I'm off to see that virtual Van Gogh exhibition
Nice.
this weekend. So a little bit of culture, and then next weekend I'm camping. So it's getting all the stuff out the shed, you know, and blowing the cobwebs off and just making sure it all works still. So
exactly.
Love a bit of camping.
Yeah, same. I reckon my son Fred's probably more excited about going camping this weekend than what he is about actually going on holiday next week.
Well,
okay. Sorry, Rosie. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I think we will make a start. Thank you for joining us for half an hour of your afternoon on Friday. I know the weather's lovely outside, and you've decided to spend your time with us, so I really do appreciate that. We are going to be talking to you for the next 30 minutes about mastering marketing campaigns within HubSpot. I'm very lucky that I'm joined by two very, very good guests. One of them from BBD Boom, one of them from a customer of ours, which we'll be going through to introduce in a second. So let's get started. My name is Andy Silvers. For those that haven't met me before, I'm head of client success at BBD Boom. My job is to work with the majority of our customers, make sure that we're delivering on expectations, delivering fantastic work, and to make sure that the relationships are always moving forward in a positive way. I'm joined today by Katie Townsend. Katie, would you like to give yourself a quick introduction?
Yeah, so my name's Katie and I'm one of the solutions consultants here at BBD Boom. So I work with our clients to help map out their business processes, translate them into HubSpot in a way that is going to make their life easier and maximize their efficiency. And I also work on a lot of marketing campaign retainers as well. So supporting customers like Rosie, improving their lead generation processes and lead quality as well.
And Katie's just been traveling for the last 3 months, so she's been thrown straight into the deep end on this webinar to come in and talk about one of her favorite subjects. And finally, we're joined by Rosie. Rosie, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you like to give us yourself a quick introduction to your role and give us a quick introduction to who Fidelity are?
Sure. Thanks for inviting me. My name is Rosie Sayers. I'm the head of global marketing for Fidelity Fulfilment. We are a global fulfillment business. We have warehouses in the US, in the Netherlands and the UK. And we specialize in working with retail businesses who are omni-channel. So they may have their own customers through their own website, but they also sell into Amazon, they sell into Boots, they sell into Harrods, all sorts of different channels, and their fulfillment needs are quite complex. So that's who we work with. We've got hundreds of customers and most of them work with multiple warehouses. So we're helping them grow from being a UK business, just selling in the UK, through to selling into Europe and then into the US and vice versa. And my main focus, well, two main focuses really. One is building the brand and getting our name in front of the right people, and secondly, lead generation for the sales team.
Amazing. Thanks, Rosie. Agenda for today's session. We're going to keep this flowing with some questions that I've got for both Rosie and Katie to discuss. But what we're going to try and overcome in today's session is how Fidelity overcame marketing limitations with HubSpot, benefits of outsourcing marketing support, top tools for managing marketing efforts effectively, and first-hand advice and lessons learned. And we're going to finish off the session with a little bit of Q&A. So please, as we're going through this, do think about any questions that you want to ask. Also, pop them in the chat so that when we come to the questions part, we can dive straight into those questions. Before we go any further forward, hopefully everyone that's attending is aware of BBD Boom's summer event, Elevate, coming up on the 24th of September. I'll be hosting the event again, so you'll be seeing a lot of myself. Katie will be there. Rosie's going to be there as one of our customer panels to talk again about a lot of the services that we work together on. If you'd like to register for it, please go through to the BBD Boom website. You'll see at the very top, there's the Elevate banner. Go through to the Elevate banner and sign up. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's covered in the day through hub-specific breakout sessions. We're going to have HubSpot talking there specifically about some new updates that we don't even know about yet. And also there's going to be some of the updates that come from inbound. So if you haven't done already, please do sign up, because there is a limited number and I would hate for people to miss out. Okay, so let's jump straight into it. Rosie, I'm sure there's lots of people on that are sat there at the moment thinking, I'm a very small marketing department. I've got a number of different software platforms, and I'm only one person that's trying to juggle multiple things. So what I'm interested to start with is, what was life like for you before you stumbled across BBD Boom, and how we started our partnership?
So I actually started this role last July, and when I joined the business, I was really chuffed that they already had bought HubSpot, because I've used HubSpot before quite a few times, and I love it. I think it's the best CRM on the market. So I was really chuffed when they said that that's what I could use. They hadn't started to build it out in any meaningful way. So I always knew that I would want to use HubSpot, but what I didn't want to become, or any of my team to become in particular, was a CRM or HubSpot expert. I know it's a massive tool and it grows all the time, so I wanted to get the most out of it, but I didn't want to have to invest my time into learning how to do that. I had to build a strategy. I wanted to own the strategy, and I needed to really get into the mindset of our customers, potential customers, and I needed to build the team. So when I started this role, I had a number of things that I needed to focus on, but I also wanted to get leads coming in as quickly as possible. So I needed a team of people who could handle the implementation of HubSpot for me. Initially, we had a website that was built already, but I wanted that rebuilt in HubSpot because I'm a big believer in keeping your website and lead gen all in HubSpot. I wanted that doing. I wanted all the lead automation of workflow to be sorted out, because it hadn't really been. It was sort of a bit kind of sticky plastered together. And thirdly, I wanted some lead generation to start. So I wanted some campaigns to start running as soon as possible. So I went out to look for a partner that could help me do that. And Boom were by far the best people that I spoke to during that process. So the first thing we did was we took the existing website, took the existing content and put it into HubSpot. And since then, we've been internally iterating the website so that it performs exactly how we want it to. We got all the automation done. We mapped out all the business processes. It was a really helpful thing for me to understand that the new business that I was in, and to lock down some global processes. We got that sorted. And then ever since, we've been working on lead generation. And now we're just starting to integrate customer support hub into the business as well. So we are fully HubSpotted up. So yeah, what I wanted was somebody to come in and to be the experts and say, me tell them what I needed to happen, and then for somebody to show me how the best way to do that in HubSpot.
Nice, thanks, Rosie. And then to Katie, I think it's around about 12 months ago that we first sat with Rosie. I know there was a group of people involved in the stage because we pulled all of our top brass in to try and get ideas of how we could approach and pitch this to Rosie. Talk us through the process that we went through and what we actually pitched to how we could fulfill some of Rosie's requirements.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, we met Rosie in person. So at Boom, we're a big believer in actually going to visit our customers face to face and get to know them and just build a bit of a relationship so that our clients can see who is going to be involved in the project. So it's quite nice because I think, Rosie, it was nice for you to get to meet a few of the team as well, and see the faces behind the work. So we actually met Rosie in person, and what we did was basically discuss how HubSpot tools could support your strategy, because you did a bit of a presentation in that session as well, I remember, about what you were looking from a partnership and what was key to you. And then we sort of had a little chat with you about how we can use HubSpot tools like chatbots, lead scoring to qualify leads, automated lead routing for your different locations to make sure that no leads are getting missed when they come in. And then we also had a look at some of the paid media specific tools as well. So I remember we were talking about how we can use ads audiences and events in HubSpot to build out sort of hyper targeted audiences, and showed a couple of examples of what we'd done for other customers and how that had benefited their lead generation efforts. So I think it was just nice to have that sort of face-to-face session where we could just sit down and bounce ideas around. Because I think, I don't know about you, Rosie, but I think that was really helpful from our side as well, learning about what your expectations were.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, for this sort of relationship to work, there has to be a really good level of understanding. I knew what I wanted from an agency. I wanted to own the strategy in terms of industry and customers, and operationally, sometimes our warehouses are full, and so we need to slow down the lead generation for them. Other times we need to ramp it up. So I wanted to own that. But what I didn't want to do is be constantly in Google ads or LinkedIn ads, or in, trying to work out the best way to deliver that. And so I think telling our story in terms of what we were looking for made it easier for you to know whether you could meet those expectations. And actually it meant a very quick and smooth start to the process.
Yeah.
I do think that's why being a marketing manager must be one of the hardest jobs in the world, because there are so many tools out there that you could use and you can't specialize in everything. And what I'd like to think is what Rosie has access to is not just Katie, a whole team of people, which I know Katie's going to talk about in a second, a whole team of people that specialize in lots of different things at Boom, which means we become a really big extension to Rosie's team and also knowledge base. Thank you both for that. Really, really good answers. Question really for both of you. So I've worked in digital agencies now since 2010. It's about 14 years. I know that things never go to plan. So what I'd like to know is, how did the first quarter go? What did we learn? What went wrong? And I would like some honesty. And how have we learned what went wrong? Rosie, I'm going to start with yourself.
Okay. What did we learn in the first quarter? How did it go? So the first quarter was quite ambitious. I was very ambitious. I wanted the new website up and running. I wanted the workflows all automated, and I wanted some campaigns starting to run, because actually that first quarter was a really busy quarter for us. So I didn't want to miss out on that opportunity. In hindsight, maybe it wasn't wise to do all three at once, but the website was delivered on time, on budget, and nobody cried, as far as I can remember. I've been in marketing, digital marketing, since 1994. I built the Ritz Hotel's first website by hand in 1994. I have delivered a lot of websites in my time, and this one was painless. Thanks to a number of things, but actually it's about the communication between my team at Fidelity and Boom predominantly. I think the website, that went exactly how we wanted it to. The workflow automation, how did that go? I think we weren't ready for it as a business. I think it's easy to say, please, can you come in and help plug HubSpot in so that it manages our sales, our marketing and sales workflow, please. That's a really simple request, but actually behind that is a huge amount of thinking and process mapping, and getting the business to buy into that isn't as easy as it sounds sometimes. But what it needed us to do behind the scenes was globally agree a sales and marketing process. We'd all kind of been doing our own slight versions of lead mapping, but it really forced us to nail that down. So that took a bit longer from our point of view than I'd expected. But we got there, and the sales team, I mean, I remember it was a little bit frightening showing them how it was now going to be used, and but actually they're really experts at it now, and they love it and they couldn't live without it. So the learning from the first quarter with that is, don't underestimate how much work is involved client side in all of that automation work. And in terms of lead generation, well, we did get campaigns running in the first quarter, and it was incredible to see the leads come in. When you've been planning something for a long time and then these leads start popping into your HubSpot feed, and you're like, oh my goodness, there's new. It was really exciting. So I spent a lot of time in that first quarter and early part of the second quarter, spending a lot of time looking at those leads that are coming in. What's the quality of them? Where are they coming from? Which channels? And then speaking to the sales team and saying, is this what you need? Are these the kind of leads you want? Are they converting? So, and that was from a marketing, as a marketer, that's what you want to see. It was great. Since then, we've done a lot of iterating, a lot of tinkering. We meet regularly and we look at what's working. I feedback from the sales team. So before HubSpot, I don't think the relationship with the sales team was as strong as it could have been. I think it's much stronger now. They tell me when an ad is delivering, or they've had a set of leads that work really well. I go back in, have a look at them, speak to Boom and say, this is really good, let's ramp it up, or the opposite, this isn't generating the kind of leads we need, let's ramp that down. We learn something new every week, and I love that. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I think marketing is all about testing as well. So for me, that first quarter was very much, we hadn't really done anything like this before, so we didn't know what channels were going to work, what the key audiences were. So I remember we launched on, I think we did Facebook, LinkedIn and Google, and we quickly learned in that first quarter for the campaign and the target audience for that campaign that Facebook and Google were great. LinkedIn wasn't generating as much for that particular audience because they were mainly B2C. So they weren't particularly spending as much time on there. So I remember we sort of quickly switched that off, put the budget into the channels that were performing. And that feedback that we get from Rosie on those weekly sessions that we have from the sales team was just invaluable in understanding, okay, these aren't the right people, we need to tweak the job titles we're targeting, or we need to target different channels, for example. So that was really, really useful for us. And we're continually going through and saying, okay, maybe we need to pause this keyword, or we need to tweak our bidding strategy slightly. So as Rosie said, we're continually every single week going in and pinpointing what's working, and it changes all the time as well. So you've got seasonality, and I think your business is quite impacted by that due to the nature of things like holidays and time off over summer. So we always needed to sort of have a look and try to anticipate what might be coming up and what we need to do to address that. So I think that was also quite a big learning from that first quarter as well, especially as we were approaching Christmas at the time.
Thanks, Katie. Katie, we've had a really interesting question come in that's very relevant to what you were just talking through then, but that I'd like to just ask now rather than later. This person's question is that HubSpot has a lot of legacy data in it, and how would they engage with a partner when they've got a lot of that data already in there? So how would we go about assessing that and making recommendations to go into this type of partnership?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great that you've already got a lot of data in there. We typically like to start with an audit. So we'll have a look at the types of campaigns you've run, what results did they generate, what channels were you using, what content and imagery, what was your target audience. From there, we generally come away with a couple of sort of quick fix recommendations. So that might be leveraging HubSpot's audience tools to improve your targeting. It might be using the events so that you can sync back changes in life cycle stages to the ad platform to help them optimize the delivery of your ads. And then we sort of work with you on building out a longer term strategy. So we've got the quick wins in there. We're generating a few more leads, but how can we actually grow this long term? So actually that data is really invaluable. If you have got a lot of legacy data in there, I think that is very useful because we can take that forward in what we do.
Thanks, Katie. So just bringing it back onto what we're talking about, Rosie, I know, again, going back to that initial pitch meeting we had, you talked about needing to manage expectations internally. So how you feed data and information back to your line managers at Fidelity. Could you talk to us a little bit about what that's like for you? And again, how you use Katie and her team to get that information and then how you report it internally?
Yep, right from the very beginning, I was really clear about what my KPIs were. I agreed that within the business. Now they have changed over time, but that's always been clear with Boom, you know, and the weekly meetings that we have. I've been able to communicate those and say, right, the strategy has changed slightly based on this data. The KPI is now this. How do we now change what we've implemented, all the campaigns to make sure that we hit that? So the clarity of the goals and KPIs has always been a priority for both parties. And I think that's been the cause of the success, really, of the partnership. I set the KPIs with the business. I agree them with Boom. We hit them. I go back to the business. The business is happy because the KPIs have been met. So that's a really great cycle, and it's, you know, that focus has been really important, and Boom have really worked with me to make sure that those KPIs are reasonable and justifiable, and yeah, so that's been really clear. The second thing that I would say in terms of managing my internal expectations, one of the things I've been really impressed with is how the team anticipate the challenges that are coming up. So the team are always, and I mean this, and I've worked with a lot of agencies in my time, and this is very rarely the case, but they are always one step ahead. So I don't think, I couldn't recall a situation where I've come across a problem which they hadn't already thought of and had started to deal with or had finished dealing with. So for me, internally, I've been able to go back to the business and say, right, we had this situation, but it's already been dealt with, and this is how we dealt with it, and this is why we dealt with it in this way. And so it's been really seamless. You know, nobody is expecting challenges to not happen. What, you know, managers, and certainly my managers want, is for me to be dealing with them quickly and carefully and, you know, with the right intentions, and Boom really helped me do that. So that's been great in terms of maintaining expectation internally. And the third thing that really springs to mind is that the communication and the delivery. So it's excellent. Regular good meetings with clear agendas. And when the business has asked me to do something, or I've told the business that this quarter we're going to deliver X, it's been delivered. I haven't had to chase or worry that it's not going to happen. So I've got the confidence in the Boom team that they will just make it happen to a standard and quality that I would be happy with, or my business would be happy with. And so I've never had to be nervous in terms of setting expectations, or even coming up to a board meeting or having to report back on a quarter. I always have that confidence that Boom have got my back. So yeah, that reliability, that absolute commitment for delivery is key, and that's why we're still, you know, entrenched as partners to this day.
And I think it's also a testament to the team that when Katie takes 3 months off to go traveling, the team still performs to the level that Katie set. We all know, and those that haven't yet worked with Katie, Katie's one of the stars at BBD Boom. Anyone that works with Katie, we get such positive feedback, reviews back from every bit of engagement they have with her. So the fact that Katie was able to step away from the business and the levels of service, the levels of knowledge maintained, again, is testament to the team that Katie works with on these.
Yeah. I think our project management system is really helpful as well. So we use a platform called Teamwork, and we can add clients to this. And we always, at the beginning of each quarter, we always set really clear deliverables. So Rosie knows exactly what she's getting, when she's getting it. And we work backwards from that to make sure that we're getting things over to Rosie to review in plenty of time, so that it's not a last minute scramble the day before the campaign's supposed to go live, putting pressure on Rosie, because obviously Rosie is a very busy lady. So yeah, it's all about that forward thinking and making sure that things are in place. They're booked in with the team, and the team can jump in to support. So it's really nice having that whole implementation team there, able to support in the setup.
2 questions that have come just from what you were talking through, Rosie. The first one is, how often do you meet to realign the strategic requirements? I've asked that in the wrong way around, so apologies. How often do you meet for strategic realignment?
So the first session was just under a year ago. And the first quarter was really about getting things up and running, and the leads started to come in. And I'm talking here about lead generation more than anything else. By the end of the second quarter, once we'd seen the kind of leads that were coming in, I did want to change the strategy slightly. I wanted to change the target market slightly. And so we tweaked the strategy at the end of quarter 2. It was probably slightly earlier than I would have expected to do that, but it was so clear from what was coming through what I needed to do to improve the leads a little bit more, and that was through the quality of data coming back, that I was able to do that. Realistically, I would say every 6 months you'd want to sit down and review that strategy, look at the data coming in, looking at the KPIs and whether they've been met. And most importantly, are the sales team happy with the leads that are coming in? Are they generating revenue? Are they the type of customers that the business need and want? What's the lifetime value of them? And then how can you leverage these new customers, to get yourself new customers as well? So I would have done it after 6 months, and we will do another strategy session, probably October, November time, to think about next year.
Thanks, Rosie. And then the part 2 of that question for Katie is, how often do you report to Rosie, and what type of data do you report?
Yeah, good question. We do weekly email reports. So it's basically a summary of each campaign. How many leads did we get? What's the cost per lead looking like? And how does that compare to last week? We'll look at things like cost per click and whether that's had any drastic changes, click-through rates. And we'll also look at, if it's on Google, for example, we'll take a look at the quality score, what days of the week are performing best, what devices are working best. And then we always make recommendations to just make little tweaks in those emails. So we might say, oh, by the way, Thursdays performing really well, so we've actually increased the bid adjustment for this by 5%, for example. So we'll make little tweaks as we go each week. And then we usually do bi-weekly meetings where we put a little bit more detail and we actually sit together on a call and just run through those. And that's things like if we've made bigger changes, let's say we have changed the copy or we've changed the imagery to give the audience something new and fresh, we'll take a look at how that's performed. Has it had a positive impact? Has it had a negative impact? How are we usually try and test a few different images at the same time or different variations of copy. So we'll take a look at that. So we tend to discuss the bigger optimizations every other week.
Thanks, Katie. And I know we're coming towards the end of the time, so one final question. I know it was around about this time last year that HubSpot launched the new campaign manager for marketing campaigns. So the question is, do we use the campaign manager for all of our marketing activity? And we probably haven't got time to go massively into it, Katie, but could you give us a quick overview to how you build that into your strategy that you're working to, Rosie?
Yeah, I mean, we use it for everything. We'll always set up the campaign in the manager, link all of the assets. And the benefit is that everything is tied together so that when we come to report, it's really easy to see, okay, what leads came from what campaign, what's having the best impact on lead generation, but also revenue close. So we're always trying to link it back to ROI. So having that campaign manager directly in HubSpot is just such a game changer.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I think that's us coming to the end towards the end of today's session. So thank you very much, Rosie. Really insightful input. Really appreciate you being open and honest as well with things. Katie, lovely to have you on again as always. If you'd like to find out any more about our Marketing Campaign Manager product and service, you can go through on the BBD Boom website. You can find it. Please get in touch with the team to find out more information. Initially, to start off with, we want to find out exactly or how you're currently using HubSpot, and then how we can support you moving forward. And just to give a couple of plugs to our next up and coming webinars, we have got another webinar coming up on the 26th of September, which is going to be a recap of the best things that come out of Inbound 2024. And again, just a shameless plug, if you haven't already yet signed up, please do sign up to Elevate. We do have tight numbers to what we can have. We are getting very close to those numbers, so I'd hate for people to miss out. So please sign up. It's completely free for you to come along to. There's going to be lots of other customers, lots of other people to network with, lots of lovely food, and more importantly, some great content, which is going to be talked through from the BBD Boom and HubSpot's team. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you, Katie. Have lovely Friday afternoons. If you're off doing anything nice this weekend, I think it's going to be good weather. So thank you very much, and we appreciate you joining today's session.
Thank you.
Thanks.